team should buy out a star defenseman who has 4 years left on a $60 million contract. Is this real life? Are we actually having this conversation? Let's dive into the latest. Because frankly, my head is spinning. The script is familiar, isn't it? Another Maple Leaf season ends prematurely, and the focus immediately shifts to radical roster changes. The pressure to finally build a team capable of a deep playoff run, capable of winning when it matters most, is immense. And this offseason, that pressure seems to be generating some truly bold ideas. While much of the chatter has revolved around the futures of high-profile forwards like Mitch Marner and John Tavares, a suggestion regarding one of the team's longest-tenured and highest-paid players on the blue line has surfaced, and it is, to put it mildly, shocking. We're talking about Morgan Rielly. Drafted 5th overall way back in 2012, Rielly has been a cornerstone of the Maple Leafs defense for over a decade. He's played his entire 873-game NHL career in Toronto, often logging heavy minutes and serving as a key offensive driver from the back end. He's currently locked into a massive 8-year, $60 million contract that doesn't expire until the summer of 2029, carrying a significant $7.5 million annual average value against the salary cap. He's an important player, a leader, and deeply ingrained in the fabric of this team. P in off-season trade speculation. This is Toronto, after all. Everyone not named Austin Matthews seems to be fair game for the rumor mill after a playoff disappointment. However, any potential trade involving Rielly is immediately complicated by a major hurdle, his full no-movement clause. This clause gives Morgan really complete control over his destiny. He can veto any trade proposed by the Maple Leafs, effectively deciding if and where he goes. And it's precisely that no-movement clause that seems to be the catalyst for this truly astonishing suggestion. According to NHL analyst Adam Wild, the Maple Leafs might consider a path that bypasses Rielly's trade veto power entirely. Wild has openly wondered if the Maple Leafs could, or even should, consider buying out Morgan Rielly's contract this offseason. Appearing on SDPN, Wild threw out the possibility, asking rhetorically, when you have a no-move, can you be bought out on a no-move? A buyout would save them $5.8 million next year. It's a lot of years. The rationale, as shocking as it is, seems to stem from the fact that a buyout is one of the only mechanisms available to a team to part ways with a player who has a full no-movement clause and is unwilling to waive it for a trade. It's a way to force the issue, albeit a financially painful one. The immediate reaction from most sane individuals upon hearing the suggestion, including Wild's co-host Steve Dangle, was one of incredulity and outright dismissal. Dangle didn't mince words, emphatically stating, "There's no way. They are not buy out Morgan Rielly, no way." And honestly, that's the reaction you'd expect. Buying out a player of Rielly's stature, with that much term and money remaining, feels like an act of desperation bordering on self-sabotage. But let's delve into the cold, hard numbers, because understanding the financial implications is key to grasping the sheer magnitude of the suggestion. According to the always reliable Puckpedia, a buyout of Morgan Rielly's contract would indeed provide some immediate cap relief for the Maple Leafs. In the upcoming 2025-26 season, they would save approximately $5.8 million against the salary cap. The savings would continue, though slightly less, at around $3.86 million annually from the 2026-27 season through 2029-30. That's 5 years of significant cap space freed up. However, the cost of that short-term relief is a truly staggering long-term penalty. From a 2030-31 season all the way to the 2034-35 season, the Maple Leafs would carry a dead cap hit of $2.13 million annually for a player who hasn't been on their roster for years. We are talking about a cap penalty that stretches out for a full decade. That's an incredibly long time to have over $2 million tied up in dead money, impacting roster flexibility and the ability to sign players well into the future. It's a move that screams win now at any cost, even if that cost is paid by future management teams and future rosters. Looking at Rielly's performance this past season, he played in all 82 games, tallying 7 goals and 34 assists for 41 points. While still a solid offensive contribution from a defenseman, it represents a dip from his peak offensive seasons, including the 68 points he recorded just 2 years prior. Some observers feel his overall game has regressed slightly, which is likely fueling the desire from some corners to explore moving on from him. But the biggest obstacle to moving on from Rielly, outside of the financial implications of buyout, is Rielly himself. His no-movement clause is a powerful tool, and he seems intent on using it to stay in Toronto. Speaking at the team's locker cleanout day on May 20th, Rielly was direct about his future. When asked about potentially leaving the Maple Leafs, Rielly stated unequivocally, "That's not what I'm thinking about right now." He acknowledged the inevitability of off-season change, but emphasized his personal focus. As a player, I think sometimes it's best not to speculate on what may or may not happen. For us, individually for me, you want to focus on what you can do to come back better. His comments leave little doubt that his preference is to remain a Maple Leaf and work towards helping the team succeed. This puts the Maple Leafs in a difficult bind. If they genuinely feel they need to move on from Rielly, whether for performance reasons, cap flexibility, or desire for a different type of defenseman, their options are severely limited by that no-movement clause. A traditional trade is highly improbable unless Rielly approves the destination, which he seems unwilling to do based on his comments. That leaves the nuclear option, a buyout. It's a way to force him off the roster, but at the cost of a decade of dead cap space. Adding another layer of complexity is the public stance of General Manager Brad Treliving regarding the team's defense core. While acknowledging the need for overall team changes, Treliving has expressed a degree of satisfaction with the defense group he currently has. Treliving commented, "In today's game, I like the length of our defense. I like the makeup of our defense." He did point out areas for improvement, such as getting out of their own end in defensive zone play, and the need for more offensive contribution from the back end. He concluded by saying, "In terms of personnel, we'll see. I like the decor, but we can't be rigid." This suggests he's not necessarily looking to tear down the entire defense, but is open to adjustments if the right opportunity arises. However, it doesn't necessarily sound like a GM who is actively planning to buy out his highest paid defenseman. So here we are. The Maple Leafs need change. Morgan Rielly is a key player with a massive contract and total control over his trade fate, and he wants to stay. And now, the possibility of financially crippling, decade-long buyout is being openly discussed as a potential path forward. It feels like an incredibly drastic measure, an admission of failed investment and an inability to find a trade solution. It's a move that would free up some immediate cap space, but hamstring the team financially for years to come. Is it a desperate measure born out of necessity due to the no-move clause? Or is it simply a reflection of the wild, often unrealistic speculation that surrounds this team? All right, Leafs Nation, I need your help making sense of this. The idea of buying out Morgan Rielly